strategic perspective of what's happening. Being in Iraq or Afghanistan, we really have to start denying the enemy sanctuaries wherever he tries to establish them and present himself. That means we need to get away from nation building, which drains our economic resources, and get back to strike type of operations where we use our strategic maneuverability and the weapon systems that we have to reach out at any time and to take this enemy out. I think that we also need to understand that this country, the United States of America, is part of the 21st century battlefield, and we cannot continue going down the road where we believe that our constitutional rights should be given to illegal enemy combatants, and we need to treat them as such. We already have a precedent that was established by Franklin Delano Roosevelt back in 1942 with the Nazi saboteurs who came ashore in Long Island. They were tried in military tribunals and summarily executed. I think that one of the other things we have to understand is that your economic strength is part of your national power. We have got to start displaying not just military strength, but economic strength. And that means that we have to transfer the wealth out of Washington, D.C., not growing government, but growing our economy that comes from the private sector. You look at the trade imbalance that we have with China, that's going to lead toward them having the world's largest blue water navy in about 10 years. You look at the fact that they hold so much of our debt. From the strategic level, that threatens your foreign policy. We saw what happened when we went to the Security Council, asked for sanctions against Iran, and the Chinese said no. And another part of our economy, which means, building the private sector, building our energy independence, is energy resourcing. Because right now, that is such a big part. We cannot continue to send our wealth to countries like Saudi Arabia, Venezuela, Nigeria, Mexico, and could be China, because they're already looking at buying leases off the coast of Florida, from Cuba. And with slant drilling, they can start tapping into our oil and natural gas reserves. And when you look at the fact that Florida has a 12% unemployment rate, we need that additional type of revenue sharing that can come from that aspect of expanding our economy from tourism and just agriculture. So I think that we got to get leaders that start thinking strategically and not just thinking about, at the tactical level with soldiers, but we got to take the fight to these guys wherever they seek to present themselves and stop prosecuting our own soldiers, like with the Navy SEALs and Lieutenant Michael Bahena, who's sitting in Fort Leavenworth prison 15 years for killing an Al-Qaeda operative.
Well, and I think that's the other thing, that a lot of people have to talk about, because when you mentioned oil, that while, we've got to become energy independent, and we can do it, and we're sitting on our hands right now.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's because when you turn around once again and the incredible, I don't know if it's ignorance or ineptness or incompetence of this current administration, is that they're too busy worried about controlling the United States of America and controlling the energy sector. Because when you look at cap and trade is nothing but behavior modification by way of taxation, trying to force American people to go through this green agenda thing. Instead of looking at developing our full spectrum of energy resources from oil, natural gas, coal, nuclear, hydrogen, electric, all the way down to renewables, they're just stuck on stupid as far as this renewable and this green thing. And they're going to bring our country to its knees.
Well, I mean, I will tell you, Alan, I don't care where it comes from. I mean, if it comes from shale in Montana or oil off the coast of Florida or pond scum in Georgia, I don't care. I just want to be using every kind, coal in West Virginia, every kind of energy we can use in our own country for our own people, because if we have energy independence, it solves a lot of these national security problems.
And that's the critical thing. As it solves national security problems and it solves economic problems also. Puts Americans back to work. We haven't built new refineries. We haven't done anything in this country, and we need to put Americans back to work. We got to get back to the point where we are producing and manufacturing. And one of the great places where that could start with is the energy resources which God has so abundantly blessed us with.
Absolutely. Alan Hunt, thank you so much for being with me today.
Thank you, Martha. And again, GoWest2010.com. And just a big shout-out to all my family and friends up there in Georgia.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being with us today. I mean, this is a guy. These are the kind of guys that are going to be elected, okay? These are the kind of guys that are going to make a difference this time. I know I'm giving you things of what you need to do. Go into the online taxrevolt.com or sign it up for the Georgia Defending the American Dream Summit that's going to be on March the 27th. I know I'm giving you a list of all of these things, but we've got to stay focused, because if we can get 50 to 70 of guys like Alan West in the Congress this time, new guys, those new guys are going to break up the rules. They are going to have enough power that they'll be able to change the way things are doing. You know, President Obama wasn't wrong in saying we needed change in Washington. The problem is you can't do it by yourself. And I know that maybe the change that Alan West would bring may not be the change that President Obama wanted, but it sure would make things better. We'll be back on the Martha Zoller Show, 877-872-5275. Go to marthazoller.com for more.